Okay, this is number 3 on the end of try to review. And our question is, complete the following fraction and decimal division problems, show your work, if possible, simplify. So let's start with fraction division. Now, the words we need to remember are keep, change, and flip. So we keep that first fraction the same, so we keep 2/3 the same. We change division to multiplication, and we flip our second fraction. I like to rewrite this because sometimes when I try to write over the numbers that are already there, it's hard to tell what they are, especially when you're writing in pencil. The numbers kind of blur together, so it's helpful if you just write it below. That saves you some simple, silly mistakes that you can make on the test. So then I multiply just like I would with decimal or with fraction multiplication. 2 times 5 is 10, 3 times 4 is 12. Now we have to remember that we need to try to simplify if we can, and I know that these are both even, so they both are divisible by 2. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2, or both numerator and denominator by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5, and then 12 divided by 2 is 6. And that's as simplified as it gets. So my answer is 5/6. All right. Now we have one with a mixed number, and this one we have to be a little bit more careful on. We have to remember to change it into an improper fraction. So we multiply, and then we add. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. So this becomes 5/3. And since it's the first one, I'm going to keep that one the same. Then I'm going to change to division, and I'm going to flip the second fraction. And I get 5 times 5 is 25. 3 times 4 is 12. And I don't think there's anything that goes into both 25 and 12, but I do notice that 25 is bigger than 12, so I need to make it into a mixed number. So how many 12s are there in 25? Well, 12 times 1 is 12, 12 times 2 is 24, so 2. And if I take 24 away from 25, I'm left with 1 out of 12. And 1/12 is as simplified as it gets, so that is my final answer. If you do not simplify or change it into a mixed number, that will be a loss of some points, so make sure you do that. All right, now for division. Now the thing that we need to remember with decimal division is that the first number goes on the inside of our fraction bar when we rewrite this. So I'm going to put 16.8 inside, 2.4 outside. And let's see here. Now we need to make a few changes. So if there is a decimal on the outside number, so our 2.4, we want to make that a whole number. So I only have to move it once, and this becomes 24. But we also need to move this one once, and this becomes 168. And my decimal is here, so it also is going to go up here. All right, well, 24 doesn't go into 1. It doesn't go into 16, but it does go into 168, and it goes in 7 times, and 7 times 24. 7 times 4 is 8, or 28. 7 times 2 is 14 plus 2 is 16, so 168 exactly. And I'm going to subtract, and I'm left with 0. So my answer is 7. Now, you have to go until it's 0. You can't leave anything, you can't leave a remainder, you have to have 0 as your answer. So if it doesn't go to 0, or if it's not repeating, you have to keep going, keep adding zeros. So let's look at the second one. This is 9.8 divided by 5, or 9 8/10 divided by 5. So that's going to go, fix that, That's going to go on the inside of the fraction bar, and 5 is on the outside. Now looking at that outside number, 5 is already a whole number, so I'm not going to move the decimal at all for this problem. I'm going to make that look more like decimal. Here we go. Alright, so now we can divide. 5 goes into 9 one time, and that would be 5. So subtract and I get 4. Now bring down my 8. 5 goes into 48 9 times. 9 times 5 is 45. And I can subtract, and I'm left with 3. Now, I don't have any other numbers, but I still have 3 left over, and I don't want a remainder. So I'm going to add a 0 up here and then bring down my 0. Now 5 goes into 30 6 times. 6 times 5 is 30, and I'm left with 0. Now I can stop. And my answer is 1 96 hundredths.